Let's talk about the sports horror movie Him, which I want to ask the question, was him really him? So this is a movie that has gotten a lot of different reactions, of course, as you've seen already. Maybe the tomato meter, everybody has a very different and mixed opinion on it. I myself do feel very mixed on it. First and foremost, not directed by Jordan Peele. I keep seeing that still be spread around. This was just produced by Jordan Peele, directed by Justin Tipping. This had 3 writers, which was the initial red flag for me. I think usually when more hands are in the pot, it's just not going to work out, and that's just my opinion. Some people might say different. I think one sole writer, one sole vision, that's the way to go. But let's talk about him and if this movie truly is the GOAT. So the movie is a sports horror movie that takes football, American football, and decides to put a lens at it and showcase the horrors behind it. And of course, we do know that there is a lot of things with American football that definitely is horrific, the injuries, the trauma to the brain and all of that, but also the pressure that we see a lot of young athletes coming out of high school, college, and all of that go through in order to try to make it into the league, and what exactly they put their bodies through in order to make the people at the very top that don't do shit just make them much more wealthier. And that's a whole other conversation we can have as well. The movie is directed by Justin Tipping, and I will say first and foremost, the movie on a visual level is one of the best looking films of the whole year. Some amazing visuals, some daring stuff that Justin Tipping does here. There are so many of these scenes where you see the brutality through different, I would say, formats. One of the ones that caught me off guard was the thermostat format, where you really see the heat levels of the athletes and everything. And there's a scene in particular where there is a tackle that takes place that was just so pain inducing to watch, because you really get to see how the body just contorts and everything with it. I also think that the soundtrack is here really great. I mean, anytime you're going to use Gucci Mane Lemonade in a film, you got my full support. That already bumps it to a 1.5 stars, and that's before me watching the movie. That's all I'm going to say. My opinion, that's all that I'm going to say about that. Really love the soundtrack though here. Now, I will tell you as well that this movie is edited very sharp, very stylistic, and I think that that really does elevate it to another level because the film goes at a quick pace as well. But one of the things that I didn't really like in this movie that it does is it feels a bit repetitive at times as well. Even though with these amazing visuals and stuff, it's like we're going and doing the same motion. Especially that middle chunk of the movie can get very repetitive because you just feel like you're seeing the same day play out, just different styles and choices being done for the way the film looks. That was one of the reasons I was just thinking to myself, when is this movie gonna change gears or pick something else? Because the beginning was great, and then leading us into the middle was amazing, and then now we're in the middle part, and I just feel like we're just stuck here. The character is stuck at boot camp. We're with him right here, and that's one of the things you don't want to feel with a movie ever, is the feeling that you're stuck and that the movie isn't really knowing where to go next, and it just feels like it's already exhausted all of the gas it has, and it's just waiting till we get to the end, and you're just trotting along with it. That's one of the biggest things you don't want a movie to do, and this movie does it in that middle part, which was one of the crucial parts because the movie was at a peak up until that point, and then it comes to that halt, and you're just okay. But one of the things that makes the movie that much more bearable to get through this middle part that felt very, very slow is the performances from Tyriq Withers as well as Marlon Wayans. They are both pushing each other to these very different sides that you've never seen from them. I think Marlon Wayans' dramatic turn here as a more quote-unquote serious actor is great to see. You really see him go to these levels and places you've never seen him before, and I thought it was great as well. Tyriq Withers is an amazing talent as also that I've been seeing for the last couple of years, ever since I first saw him in Atlanta, and then recently, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think he has the comedic chops for sure, and he's able to really have that great timing, and here he does it as well with Marlon Wayans, who of course is an established comedian for the last couple of decades. You see that he's able to keep up, which is great, but you also see this dramatic presence from him we haven't seen before, at least myself, and I think this is his career best, honestly. There's so much of his performance that is so grounded on him being able to really showcase this uber confidence that he has as the athlete that is Cam, but also showcase the vulnerability that is Cameron, the person that is broken mentally and still trying to push themselves to that limit that they know that they can, but they also promise to their family. And it's just such a heartbreaking thing to see, because we know a lot of athletes and people that persevere for hire are always thinking to themselves that they can do better. They want to be the GOAT. They want to be the best one. Cam wants to be him. And I really love the performances for that as well. I think that the rest of the actors here are great. Julia Fox plays a very interesting character, and honestly really was a lot of the times what made the film keep going when her character would show up, because she would just come out with these very crazy ideas and these very interesting premises, and I really love that for that. Now, like I said, this movie had a lot going for it. There were so many of the aspects I liked, but it's just a movie that at the end of the day doesn't know exactly what it's trying to say, I feel, and is doing a lot of what we've seen before other films do, especially with films that criticize the systems, capitalism, and just selling your soul, quote unquote. I think that this movie, its ending is great. It's fun. I loved it, but it just didn't really fit well with the film in itself. It just felt like it was thrown in there for shock. And that's not a bad thing either. Like, the movie can do what it wants to do. The ending can be what it is and still be fine. But I just think that this movie truly tried to push something and push and push. But at the end, it was like out of steam by the time we got to that part, that it just didn't land and it just felt random and out of place. I would have loved if him dug deeper into those themes it was trying to brush upon at the beginning and middle of the film, with trying to sacrifice yourself in order to gain money, fame, and all of this, and lose your humanity, lose everything that made you you, in order to just become somebody else's puppet that they use to gain money and all of that. And you know, it was an interesting concept, and I wish they would have dug deeper, but at last it just became the movie that it is. So overall, I think Him is worth watching if you were interested in the first place. Visually, it's amazing. It has so many interesting ideas that it presents at you at an accelerated speed, which can be a bit, I would say, tiring and sort of get you maybe a little bit of your head spinned enough to where you're just like, I don't know if I can take any more of this. I think the performances from Tyriq Withers and Marlon Wayans are great as well, and it really does push the movie forward. Definitely something you haven't seen from both of them, so I'm excited for that in that aspect. But the story was just where it felt weak. Like I said, too many writers, too many ideas, it's gonna fall apart. That's just a thing that I've seen so many times happen with a film. Immediate red flag when I sat down and saw how many writers were on it, but it turned out to be true for me. Overall though, I still recommend watching it. I don't know if I would shell out the full price at the theater, maybe a matinee, or wait for it to rent or stream. Definitely not one I would rush out to the theater if I wasn't even curious about it in the first place, but still, solid movie worth watching, I think. So excited to see what Justin Tipping does in the future. Cannot wait. Also Tyriq Withers, Marlon Wayans, more movies for sure. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on him, and if you enjoyed it or not, in the comments down below. Stay tuned for a ton of other reviews I have for you from TIFF as well as from Fantastic Fest. So super excited to talk to more movies with you, and stay tuned. Gen V coverage is coming out today. We'll be covering it weekly as well. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Let's get to it. 50,000 subscribers is our big goal. As always, stay safe, stay positive.